Okay, so I understand dates are expensive. As a single guy, I get it. I also understand that if you're like a family person and there's more than just the couple involved, things can get quite costly when you go out. And so, before we talk about anything else, I want to thank you for watching the channel. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. If you're not already a subscriber, consider. It takes like a few seconds, you feel me? And it helps the channel grow a bunch, and I'd really appreciate you. And so I bring up the examples of going out and its expense, right? Because, well, it's time to talk about the state fair. Okay, so here's the thing. Here in America, right now, as we speak, there are state fairs going on around the country. Typically, state fairs are places that are operated by a board of trustees, a board of directors. How they're picked, I'm not quite sure. I mean, but how the people on the electoral college are picked, I'm not quite sure either, but that's a thing too. So, anyways, in this funky process, people elect a body of officials to govern a certain time of the year at a place where they're organizing competitive events for farmers, right? This is where the fair aspect comes, is the agricultural component of America and the backbone of our agricultural, history and its heritage as it pertains to our culture. And that's one thing that is pretty unanimous with Americans and our, love for country and love for, getting together and celebrating these kinds of things. I mean, there are some really cool contests at your local state fair. I am a huge fan and have spent many hours of my life sitting up in the stands in the same spot over at the in the Arizona State Fair, watching the bull riders and even the kid bull riders, and visiting the cows. And listen, I am a fan of what the state fair should be. However, the state fair is probably like, one of the worst examples of how something good can turn bad, or one of the best examples of how something that's supposed to be good can be completely just turned into something that benefits absolutely nobody. And so, follow me here. The state fair used to be, or should be, the state fair should be a place where couples, single people, and families can go to have a good time. And more importantly than that, it should be affordable to families and to people wanting to visit a state fair. I mean, it is, after all, the supporting, like the support of your local, economy, your local infrastructure as it pertains to, how the farmers in the area get to go out and show off their stuff every once in a while with other farmers and mingle with city folk. And this is a good version of their best life, and it is not a bad one. A lot of people go to the state fair, including those same city folk who like their one time passage into a different world of farming and agriculture and things of this nature. So, the state fair is an expensive ordeal. It is highly political. It is often impossible to afford so much that entire days have to be dedicated to schools and to families just so that they can get one shot at going to the state fair. And if you are a working parent, or if you are a working person and you're going to school and you happen to not be able to get that specific time off, that your state fair board is made so that your state fair can give you entry in it to enjoy the state fair, well then, my friend, you can't go. You feel me? And listen, and then we end up sacrificing, working adults end up sacrificing large amounts of money for small parts of for short periods of time to try and squeeze in all of this fun when it ends up being a nightmare, honestly. You know what I mean? So, like, who benefits from state fairs, I guess, is my ultimate question. And the people who benefit from state fairs are the same folk that, benefit from absolutely everything. And no, I mean, at least in the instance of it being mob controlled, at least we'd get a little bit better love. But in this case, the state fair never shows any reciprocal love towards its community. Again, nothing more or nothing short of just offering a discounted family day or exclusive hours for families to go. But, the argument is always everything's more expensive, Sonny. Well, I get that, okay? I'm Sonny in this instance. And I'm talking to older people who have always told me these very things. And the thing is that, well, I guess, sure, that's such a simple thing to say. Things are more expensive, Mr. Richard. I get it. I wouldn't think that they'd be cheaper. I mean, if we're thinking in these sort of very black and gray, black and white kind of instances, well, then I guess it's safe to say that anyways, state fairs are not good for the community. I have not seen a state fair in the United States recently that has done actual good in terms of you want people to visit the state fair. You want people to go. You want these individuals to have exposure to all different kinds of people, whether they're doing the 4-H stuff or you're there just to have, some fun on the rides and enjoy some local craft food. I mean, I also get henna tattoos every time I'm at the state fair. But the thing is that that's nice and everything if you can afford it. But if you don't have $200 to spend on an evening out of 3 hours for 4 people, then you're out of luck. Well, with that same $200, you could also, pay a tenth of rent, right? That's a joke because rent's so expensive. But with that $200, you could do a whole lot of other things that lasts a whole lot longer than the state fair does. So, does the state fair even make it worth it? Like, do they try to have cool new rides or, make you feel safe? And the thing is that no, they don't. Either of those things, right? Oftentimes it's decades before you see any new ride at your local state fair, and then you never really quite feel comfortable at the state fair, even though every police officer that currently works on the state clock from 9 to 5 is there, you feel me, and some even other cops that you've never seen before driving cars that we're not sure about. The thing is again, state fairs are not good, and until it's revisited, I'd encourage regional county fairs, which are still a thing. Surprisingly, you can find county fairs in your local jurisdiction. You might have to travel a little bit farther, but for that same amount of money you'd spend at your local state fair, you're going to get a whole lot more for your dollar in terms of just things at the event, food, parking, all of these things that are going to cost you an arm and a leg at your local state fair are not going to be as costly, comparatively speaking, to your local regional fairs or your county fairs, which offer the same experience except a lot cheaper and a lot more humble. Right, all the families and people around aren't in a rush to get their value for their hundreds of dollars they're spending. They're actually enjoying their time. People are being safe, and so again, state fairs, shame on you. And you wonder why, attendance figures drop every year. Well, I think it's because, you outprice the local community that you come to. So I'm not quite sure. Like, maybe don't have a state fair or have a state fair somewhere else where you can get the results that you want in a place that you want, away from all of the people that would like to participate but can't because it's just too expensive.